That's a bit better. I was actually trying to do a vlog through my Wi-Fi. It didn't automatically change over because I'm getting a little bit of a signal because my place is just right next to this park that I'm sitting. It's just not quite windy enough that I couldn't be able to do this. I have an umbrella up over my head here. It's raining pretty good. It's nice though. The wind is just, when I went to sit down, it blew the umbrella right up. So we'll see. I haven't done a vlog in a while. Well, it's January 18th, not 18th. It's January the 13th, 2018 is what I meant to say. Been doing a lot of thinking this morning, looking over a lot of old photos and what I achieved. I have a bond with what I want to achieve and in my life. I don't know, I'm not going to compare myself to Wayne Gretzky or anything like that, but I guess that's just what popped into my head. Now, as Wayne Gretzky turns out, he became one heck of a great hockey player. And I think if you look back now on his life, there wouldn't have been anything else that he would have done. You know, even though I think he was interested in baseball, was his first love or something like that. I don't know. But his life went that way. Me, I'm looking back, and it was some of the highlights of my life, and I really came back to Nova Scotia to celebrate those highlights. And also some of the really low lights of my life. But it all seemed to point me into a certain direction. I think my first thought was Johnny Miles. You know, meeting him at a very young age. I think it was 7. I don't think 8. I think 8 would have been too old. I believe I was 7 when he came to our school, and it was the first, I guess my first hero in a way, where somebody showed me what could be possible. To really step outside yourself and go beyond what you could believe. But Johnny, he ran all around his community. And it was similar to what I was doing back then, just always on my feet, always wanting to be on the run. And it was hard to kind of keep me in one place, just that kind of energy. Johnny ran and he started running marathons for even his family, you know, just taking home wins, even if it was just a bag of flour. I mean, back in the 20s, that was okay. Take a bag of flour home, feed your family for a little while, right? So he'd be taking the bags of flour he'd win in the marathons back home to his mom. I don't think I didn't do that. But nothing like that. But we're gonna have to try to switch arms here. My other arm's getting tired. Oh, there we go. And I'll try to hold this umbrella down. But that said, he went on eventually to win not once but twice at the Boston Marathon. You know, a fellow from Nova Scotia. So that impressed me, and I was already running Johnny Miles marathons around our school. We'd do quite a few laps around our school at a very young age. So that really inspired me to get on my feet and think about the possibilities. I could probably talk more about Johnny Miles, but you know, probably a lot for people who I've already talked a lot for people that don't know him particularly. But check it out, look it up, and find your own inspiration. But my next real big inspiration when it comes to a person, of course, was, I guess, a couple of years later after that, when I heard about Terry Fox running across Canada. And this is where I was thinking this morning of just how unique, and I think unique where my life was positioned. I don't really believe in destiny, but things happen, and when they happen, you got to move along with them, and and they're going to change you, and they're going to inspire you. When it came to Terry Fox, I really just seen at a 9-year-old kid, I seen a man just running, and running passionately, and running against, I think, what other people believed in him. He grabbed a hold of his identity, said, this is who I am, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to do my best to see that I make it, you know. But he was, well, I was living in Green Hill, just outside of the towns of, well, Stellarton, New Glasgow, Trenton, Westville, you know. Green Hill is just outside of there. And just at the foot of Green Hill was a trailer park that I lived in. So I could have had the unique opportunity to see Terry Fox run down the Trans-Canada Highway. I mean, that was, I think that is unique. Not everybody that seen Terry would have seen them from the front porch. They would have had to go out to see him somewhere along the way. Some, of course, did have that unique opportunity. I was sent to school, so I heard about it. And really, it really hurt not to have that opportunity. It really did hurt me. In 1986, I heard about another person, Rick Hansen, wheeling around the world in a wheelchair. That same determination, that same drive just to make a difference in this world, like his friend Terry. And I don't know, I think my thing just went out. We still working? Oh, maybe. I lost internet connection. I'm gonna have a little restart here. I will delete the previous video, but I'm kind of wearing a umbrella here as a hat, in a way, trying to keep dry from the rain that's fallen. I was just doing a video here, vlog for you, but it cut out, so I'll have to start up again. That kind of takes down my what I was talking about a little bit, makes it more difficult. But yeah, I was talking about a bit of the uniqueness of my life, and I guess looking at coincidences or destination. I guess that's another word that jumped into my head. But with that, I think destiny. My first thoughts of, well, let's say destination. I was destined to run. As soon as I found out that I could run, or basically as soon as I got up on my feet, my legs were taking me places. Sometimes far away, to the shock of my mother or father, because I would just go. And I guess the first example of that would be when I was just a toddler, I think just barely able to walk. My eyes caught my grandparents' place, and I figured, why can't I just go visit them? So I did. I walked all the way down to my grandmother's house, and to the shock of my grandmother, I guess I knocked on the front door, and she's like, oh my goodness, what are you doing here, Trevor, kind of thing, as a toddler, and called up my mother immediately and gave her all heck. Aren't you looking after your kid? But I mean, I went, and I would go in no time. That hasn't changed. You know, at the first opportunity that I can get out there, I do, even in this rain. But you know, I'll spin from there all the way to last year too, trying my darndest and figuring I was darn ready to do a run across Canada, by frig, I think by the time I got ready to go, I was more than prepared. I may get into a little bit of what's holding me back a little bit later, but I do want to just kind of talk about that line of determination, really, and towards a destination. And I will say, we pick our heroes. You know, we do, and I think as a young child, you need to. And I have realized that those heroes have the qualities that you want. And for me, my first hero that I could think of, and you know, maybe it was in the ages of influence, and that's from, you know, when you're a toddler all the way up into your teens, and maybe even a little bit further. The people you meet then really shape and mold who you're going to be as an adult. And I said often, when meeting people, and you know, it's to other people, just don't take a person for who they really are, kind of thing. You know, they're every person that person has ever met, you know. So definitely, I'm going to give credit to the people I met along the way. And I was back as a very early child, we were doing Johnny Mile marathons around the school. And they weren't really marathons, but for the kids, they were quite significant. We just ran around the school around the time, just before the Johnny Miles marathon would be in Glasgow, Nova Scotia. Boy, it's windy here. I'm on the edge of Halifax Harbor right now and getting the winds off the harbor. But back then, prior to the Johnny Miles Marathon and prior to our school run, Johnny Miles paid a visit to our school, and I remember this. Oh, it's getting, the winds are starting to come up here. I remember this little old man coming to our school, coming from stage left and walking to the center and talking about how he was a young child running around in Sydney, Nova Scotia. I can't really remember a lot of what he might have said, but I definitely remember the image. But he was a young fella, and he ran all around the Sydney Mines area where he lived, and ran a few marathons and started to get a reputation for himself. He would win, and what he would win sometimes was just a bag of flour to take home to his mom, which was great because they were a struggling family. But yeah, he stood out in my young life, and you know, just kind of showed me the possibility of, you know, even somebody from your neighborhood, your province.
From Chris Redmond.
My brother just got back from Australia. Sorry, that's what that message was. And he feels like hammering on the drums, so I might have to go in and have him over. But first, I want to talk, because I haven't talked for a while. I think his inspiration as a kid was Tommy Lee. Multi-crew. But anyways, Johnny Miles just kind of gave me an indication that, hey, a fella from your home province can do this. And that kind of touched a kid. Well, what am I capable of doing? You know, it was my first imagination. You know, my first thought. That was my first imagination, but it was my first thought of, hey, you know, really, what am I capable of? The next person that kind of came into my existence was a fellow by the name of Terry Fox, and to me it was amazing that he was going to be running down the Trans-Canada Highway and running across Canada, and I love to run. As I said, I picked my heroes, Johnny Miles. Now Terry Fox was becoming my hero, and it was, wow, a person is actually going to run across Canada. And as a kid, I always look back at that like that's an impossible feat. I thought, to me, that would be like running to the moon as a child. But here was a man doing it. and I wanted so badly to meet him and see it. And the fact of the matter is, I got sent to school instead, even though Terry Fox would have been running down the Trans-Canada Highway where I lived next to, in a trailer court in Green Hill, Nova Scotia. That bothered me. It really did. And when Terry he was forced to have to try to get himself back together after he found out that he had lung cancer. I'm sorry, it's hitting me right now. It was really later that year. The man that was running past my home was doing so with, well, the start of lung cancer potentially. You know, this probably was May, and September is when it was discovered, and he had to end his journey. So that affects you, you know, and you know, I so wanted him to go on. You know, I wanted him to. As a young kid, I heard folks saying, "Well, he'll never make it to New Brunswick." You know, he was doing something that, again, for an adult, they thought was impossible. On one leg, well, 1.5. You know, he had a prosthetic, which I think made it even more severe to people's imagination. Well, and I think it showed just what might be possible. But no, I didn't get to see that occur. Him go past my property. In 1986, early on, I heard about another person, a friend of Terry's, who was wheelchairing all the way around the world. And you know, that was quite inspirational. I was very excited to hear about that and that somebody else was out there doing it. And I think at that time I lived a kilometer away from the Trans-Canada Highway. I tended to, that's where my parents moved, next to the Trans-Canada Highway. Blame them. It's your fault, Mom and Dad, that I was out there. But quite an attraction was going to happen. He that fall was going to be coming Rick Hansen through my community, and I spent the summer on my bicycle just trying to get my legs built because I knew this guy was a Paralympian and I just wanted to keep up. And he or as it was told later on, his route was given, and it wasn't just the Trans-Canada Highway. He was coming a mere feet from where I was in my home. Basically, his journey would just miss my doorstep, and you can't even imagine the excitement that I had knowing that. And I did this time. I was sent to school away from Terry Fox, and I will tell you with certainty, I was not going to miss Rick Hansen. So yes, I trained and I trained and I trained, and I was ready. And just 4 days prior, I got struck by a car and almost lost my leg. But I was thinking all about that, and even this morning put my thoughts together where having that accident and getting through that. And while I was laying there thinking about what Rick or Terry would have thought about when they were laying in the hospital bed themselves, I had nobody else to relate to at that point. I didn't know anybody that was going through what I went through. And you kind of need to have somebody going through what you're going through to kind of feel like, you know, okay, what's popping in my head is purpose, belonging. I lost my place in life. You know, my dreams and my place prior to that was to be an Olympian, to be a rock star, to be a movie star, to play in the CFL. And to my belief, any one of those were possible if they aren't or weren't all possible. I think I need to do this vlog for one thought for myself. It is just to kind of get some of these ideas out, and I don't know who will see this, and maybe one or two. maybe the true dedicated people to what, maybe interest in what I'm doing. But I'm going through quite a bit right now, and it has taken me completely off the road. Best estimation, before at the earliest 2020, before I'd have enough, if I have strong support, and in which people will help sponsor me, would I be able to get back out on the road. 2026 might be another year by that time where I might, under my own savings like I have in the past, through a walk and a bike ride. It was all under my own, you know, some sponsorship, some support, definitely. But I saved up myself, and you know, even this last journey, it was 3 years of working up north and putting money away. So unfortunately, it didn't happen. But this morning, just thinking hard and strong about like the opportunity, you know, making those. It's like what was the chance that Terry Fox was going to run past my house back then? Well, you know, when it comes to his route, he ran past thousands, if not millions of people. But then to move and then have Rick Hansen go down your street, you move to a street that Rick Hansen was going to be wheeling down. What's the chances of that, you know? So I'm thinking about those chances, and like I said back with my walk across Canada, I wasn't out to beat any records or anything. I was out to beat the odds. So I'm just looking at myself now, you know, what were the odds to have Rick and Terry both go past your home? And what were the odds that Rick was going to do a 25-year anniversary, you know, and give you the opportunity to reclaim what you lost? You lost the opportunity to see Rick when you got struck by a car in 1986 and almost lost your leg. What are the odds of me getting back out there? And I guess this is my first call out to really try to find support, because I would like to make it 2020 as soon as I can. You know, life has its limitations. It has its own deadlines. I'm sorry for you know, less of a better word, but life will end, and I'm thinking about both the mortality and the immortality of life. You know, that the days will end for even myself, and within the days that I have left, I want to see that my route of my journey will go past my heroes' places. You know, I'd like to go down through Coquitlam again, and you know, maybe go past the home of Rick Hansen along the way, and give them a thank. And along that way, and along my journey, I hope to go past other people's houses and homes, and I'm hoping to bring those people out and move people. You know, my resolve is not going to change. You know, I cannot deny who I am, and I fought so hard through my lifetime to be this, and I'm in the fight of my life right now, trying to prove to people that should know my character, who don't, which is just, it's the saddest and most tragic thing. But I'm not getting younger. Yeah, the long hair might cover things up, the wrinkles on the forehead, but they're showing. And if I let this grizzle grow longer, you're going to see the white of a beard. Anyways, I'm not going to ramble too much further. I think that's a good piece for now. I'll try to do updates later, but you know, one thing I did put on Kijiji today is, for anyone that can remember back in that time, I've been asking for my own Doug and Daryl. I've been asking for my own Amanda and Dawn, and the first two helped Terry get across, and the other two plus more helped Rick Hansen, and they were the people that were directly with him. And yes, my hair is getting longer. I'm having a hard time even considering cutting it. It's almost now. I didn't think I'd get emotional about to say this, but to cut my hair right now is almost as severe as cutting my leg off, because I was growing this hair out with hopes along the way to when it gets finally long enough and people get to know here's that guy running that has long hair, that somewhere up the road I was going to cut it and donate some proceeds to, and donate the hair itself to cancer. I think the wind is telling me right now it's time to move, Trevor. Your brother's waiting for you. He wants to play some drums. So I haven't seen him in 5 weeks, so I'm going to go visit him. And I'll also say that as much as there is destination and destiny, possibly the destiny, I know there is destination. I also found within my motion that just even the wind moved me. It would both strengthen me and tell me to rest. And it would also push me along the way, or it would hold me back. Holding me back made me stronger. Pushing me forward is what it was doing when I was weak. So anyways, I'm going to say that. And I know it's been a while since I did a vlog, but I haven't forgot. The more we move others. So, just thinking of you. Bye.